Calling all love featuring marriage and divorce fans. I think we have a new show. It's called Perfect Marriage Revenge. If you're not already watching it, let's get into it. Okay, if you were just as frustrated with the ending of Love Featuring Marriage and Divorce, or lack thereof, as I was, this show just might give us our fill. If you notice, it has a lot of familiar faces because it has a lot of the same cast members that we saw in Love Featuring Marriage and Divorce. And if you watch the show and some of the visuals feel a little familiar to you, it's because they also have the same director. Oh who directed season 3 of Love Featuring Marriage and Divorce, is the director for this project. And I think they also have the same producer or production company. So yeah, this might be the one. All right, so first, a little spoiler-free tea on the show. This show is pretty much a critique on Cinderella. Okay, let me explain. Our main girl right here in the white dress, she is an orphan who was adopted into a rather affluent family. Like, they're rich, but they're not rich. They're not rich enough to be running things, but they're rich enough to think that they can run things. You know what I mean? And she has a younger sister who is the biological child of both parents. And similar to how Cinderella had to watch her stepsisters grow up with a silver spoon in their mouth, right? She had to watch her younger sister grow up with all of the privileges, all of the affection and attention that she would have loved to have had, right? She grew up feeling like an outsider in her family. But from the outside, it looked like she was living this privileged life, with a family who could provide all of the comforts and care in the world to her, but they chose not to. Just real messed up. As they've grown up, she has become a good-natured, kind-hearted person, and her sister, the one with the white jacket, is spoiled and self-centered, just like her mama, all the way over there in the pink dress, and then that's their useless daddy over there in the back. Now, with Cinderella, her kindness was her weapon. It was like her best asset to win at life. Not for her. Not for her. Her kindness was definitely taken for weakness, all right? And everyone in her family is a troll. Like, in just episode 1, this girl runs into betrayal after betrayal after betrayal, and not a single person in her family has her back. Well, without giving too much away, she gets a chance at a redo in life. And when she gets this redo, kindness, recycle bin, okay? She's got money and revenge on her mind like gin and juice, all right? So if you love a revenge drama, if you stan a petty queen, and you like the romance and the money of it all, get into this drama with me. Now, if you haven't seen the show and you don't like spoilers, this is a great time to click away, because I'm about to get into the first few episodes of the show. All right, so if you're still here, that means you're okay with the spoilers. So yeah, let's get into it. Episode 1 of Perfect Marriage Revenge. So the show opens up with Honeyju, our Shiro, our main girl, painting a family portrait. And I feel like this takes place in the same universe as Love Featuring Marriage and Divorce, because while she's painting, she's listening to the radio, and the radio host is giving out advice, kind of like what Harry Young did in Love Featuring Marriage and Divorce. And she's listening to the radio because she actually submitted a question for some advice, and the radio host is giving her some encouragement and telling her to be positive. And the reason why she's nervous is that she's painting this portrait and she plans to gift it to her family, but she's not sure how they'll take it and whether or not they would be receptive to it. Now, automatically you're like, what's going on? Because you can see that she is clearly talented and a very, very skilled painter. So why wouldn't her family want this painting? Yeah, it's because they're all trolls. And I kind of like the way how this show starts to peel back the layers and roll out the people around her who are taking her for granted, right? It sort of starts with like the outer layers, the in-laws first, and then it works their way into her core family, her inner circle. So while she's painting, we find out that she lives with her in-laws, right? She's married to like a childhood friend that she had been crushing on almost all her life, and they got married, and she moved in with his mother and sister, okay? And while she's painting, her mother-in-law calls her up last minute asking her to do housework and cook, okay? And the sister-in-law, who is there, y'all, tries to act like her mama ain't talking about her, and she runs out the house, leaving everything, all of the chores and all of the work to Yiju. But Yiju, she's so kind and considerate, she makes the time to cook and clean. All right, the mother-in-law gets there, eats the food with all her friends, and then has the nerve to complain about it. She's so ungrateful. So ungrateful. But Yiju, she can't dwell on that. She's gotta go, right? She takes her painting and she's going to meet up with her family to give it to them. Only her family, they ain't home. Okay? Turns out they're at a whole art gallery event and didn't tell her, right? So they bamboozled her, telling her the wrong date. She was under the impression that the big family art event was going to take place a bit later on. So her plan was to meet up with them for a private family dinner and gift them the painting. But they had other plans in mind. So she makes her way over to the art gallery, and on her way there, she finds out that her dear husband resigned from his job. And she's like, it's okay, that's my man. He'll explain it to me later. I'm not gonna trip. Tell me why when she walks into the art event at her family's art gallery, her husband's there. How did he know the date and details of this event and not her? A mess. While she's at this event, her sister, okay, her younger sister, is getting a little too close to her husband for comfort. All right. And she finds her mom to present her with the painting, and the mom is so unfazed. The mom is like, oh, another painting? Okay, we'll put it in the basement with all the rest of your paintings. So yeah, she's been painting different works of art for her family, and they've just been putting it in the basement of this art gallery. So they say. And in the midst of all of this, the handsome Sodogoku walks in, right? And it seems as though he and Yiju's sister are supposed to have something going on and dating, but clearly her sister is more into her husband, and Sodogoku, he doesn't seem to be into anything. He seems over everyone and everything, actually. And he's trying to pull Yiju to the side and be like, psst, psst, psst. Your sister is an op, okay? Your sister is not into me because she wants your man. And Yiju, again, she's like not trying to hear it. She's blind. She can't see she's blind, right? And she's like brushing it off. And then the auction for the art gallery starts. And the mother actually ends up selling a very famous painting to the highest bidder. But plot twist, this highest bidder, okay, she's like, you are trying to scam me because this painting you're trying to sell me is a fake. And the mother shifts into Maleficent, okay? And she ends up framing Yiju for the whole thing. Turns out she had her daughter Yiju paint imitations of famous works, convincing Yiju that she was going to donate those works to charity. The whole time she was selling them to rich socialites. And when she's caught, she frames Yiju for the whole thing. So now at this art gallery, the police are after her. She's running around trying to find her husband. While she's doing that, she runs into him canoodling with her sister. And he tells her that actually he wanted to divorce her. So in one day, she is framed as a scammer. Her sister is pushing up on her man. And her man wants to divorce her. She can't take it. She runs into the street, gets into her car. She's so frantic. She crashes into another car, right? We don't see who it is, but she sustains a lot of injuries, ends up in the hospital. Her mom sends in her personal assistant to be a hitman, unplugs the machine to unalive Yiju. Yiju says a prayer, and she wakes up a year earlier in year 2022, ready to do it all again. Yes. So while she's in the hospital bed, like fighting for her life, she is also praying for her life. And she ends up waking up a year earlier in 2022 with all of her memories of what happened, with an opportunity to relive the most recent year of her life. But yeah, before we proceed and get into episode 2 and what comes next, we gotta roll it back. Roll it back. Because there was a lot that happened at the end of episode 1. It took me a while to move on, to be honest. Because first of all, why is the mother there in the hospital room? Because like here in the States, you know, the laws might be different, of course. But here in the States, if you're married, your spouse gets, you know, control or the first say of what happens to you while you're in the hospital. So I was really confused about why the mom was there. You know, her husband and her sister showed up and they were all crying and teary-eyed, but the mother kicked them out the room. So I'm like, is she really that powerful? Is the husband really that useless? Are the laws different? I don't know. Could be all of the above. You never know. But the mother goes into the hospital room and she's talking to Yiju and she's like, your kindness is what got you here. You know, I was able to exploit your kind heart to my advantage. Maybe next time you shouldn't do that. You should live life differently. Okay, bet. And then when her hitman, personal assistant, bodyguard entered the room to unalive Yiju, all I kept thinking was, where is that guy? Where is Sodoguk, the handsome stranger who came in to the gallery? He seemed to have her back, you know, and seemed to look out for her when he didn't have to. Where is he? You know, while the assistant was unplugging machines and whatnot, I was like, no, where's her boo? Can he come in and be a hero real quick? And he did not show up. And that got me thinking. The show probably expects us to think this. So what happened to him? Remember that car crash, how she hit a car leaving, like running away from the art gallery? They never showed the driver of that car. So I'm wondering if he, the handsome boo, you know, he's my boo, that's why I call him that. I'm wondering if he was the driver of that car, you know? I don't know, we'll see. But I do think that towards the end of episode 1, they left some tidbits and some crumbs to set up the rest of the show. So yeah, let's get into episode 2. When she wakes up in 2022, it's actually the day of her wedding dress fitting with Mr. Turdface. I mean, I think his name is like Sehyuk, her fiance, but I call him Turdface, all right? Because to me, that's what he is. But baby, when she is trying on her wedding dress and she sees Mr. Turdface sitting there on that couch, she remembers everything and she sees red. She marches up to him, smashes flowers in his face. I think she could have done a lot worse, you know, but she calls off the engagement. She's like, I'm not marrying you. And she storms off. And then she storms into her house to her parents and she's like, wedding is off. I'm not marrying him. I am not marrying that man. And they are flabbergasted because she has a whole new personality. This is not who she is. My girl was not trying to ease into things at all, okay? She has a mission for revenge and no time to waste, which is what I love about this show so far. It's the pacing. It moves along. Like you get revelations and confrontations in a timely fashion, which is why I think, unlike Love Featuring Marriage and Divorce, where they like to draw out conflict, this has the potential to really deliver a full ending because it's really getting into the nitty-gritty as soon as it can. Love that. But anyway, what is her plan for revenge, you might ask? Yeah, y'all remember Mr. Handsome Face, Sodoguk, who was at the art gallery in episode 1? Yeah, her plan is to meet him before her sister starts to date him. All right, and so she enlists the help of a childhood best friend and they meet up. It turns out this friend actually is a reporter or journalist for like a news publication, and she's also related to Sodoguk, and she gets her to arrange a meeting between the two of them. And surprisingly, when she meets up with him, he seems real down for her shenanigans. He's like, "Oh, you want me? You want to marry me? Okay, bet. Let's go up to my hotel room and discuss this a little further." While in the hotel room, they work out the conditions for their little contract marriage, and we get to learn a little bit more about our main guy here. He is actually the younger son in a very, very wealthy family. They are power players in construction, and they outrank Han Yi-ju's family in the wealthy food chain. And currently his older brother over here is running the family business, but only because Sodoguk has decided not to take on that role. So even though he's younger, he's the more favored son in the family, but he decided to step away and start his own interior design firm. So that means he is CEO Zaddy, and he would make an amazing ally for Han Yi-ju in her quest for revenge. And so they decide to part ways to go and announce to their families that they plan to get married and whatnot. While Yi-ju is at home, her family confiscates her phone and pretty much imprisons her to her room. Like, they trap this grown woman in her room. She manages to get in touch with CEO Zaddy, who drops everything. Like, he is mid-conversation with his family. That's his mama over there. She is so fly. Okay, he is mid-conversation delivering marriage announcement to his family, and he's like, "I gotta go and rescue this girl. Sorry, my fiance." So he rushes to her aid, steps into her home, lets her family know what's up, that they can't mistreat her anymore. How dare they lock her away, and that he will be protecting her from now on. I know that's right. And so he gets her away from her family. They go out to get something to eat. And I'm stumbling over my words because it's a mess. She had nothing to eat the entire time they were there, and she's uncomfortable eating at the restaurant. He ends up having to take her out to a park to buy food for her from a convenience store. And y'all, we find out that whole hospital incident was not the first time someone in her family tried to unalive her. They actually poisoned her before, y'all. Like, how much is this one person supposed to take? This is like penthouse level, just piling on tragedy and hardship onto one person. Just, she's been being bullied and just like threatened by her family, by those closest to her. And you're starting to get a little suspicious. Like, this doesn't seem to be a typical adoption. Like, because, you know, you adopt someone, okay, maybe you, I think it's really whack that you wouldn't have. Pardon the interruption, but I don't know what happened. The sound cut off for the very last minute of my video. But essentially what I was saying is the treatment of Yi-ju just seems a bit too extreme for it to be your standard adoption story. So we'll see what happens and what new revelations come later. And then episode 2 just closes out with Sodoguk formally proposing to our Cinderella, and he is ready with rage and intensity to go and get revenge for her. And after his proposal, they share a little kiss. Okay, it was actually kind of hot and steamy, and I'm surprised that Yi-ju seems so awkward with it, because girl, you had a whole fiance before this. Was there no passion in that previous relationship? But anyway, girl, I'm glad you have found your CEO Zaddy. This is the relationship for you, and we'll see how it all plays out. I'm loving the chemistry between our two leads so far, and I'm invested in this story. What do you guys think? Are you watching Perfect Marriage Revenge? Let me know your thoughts. See you in the next one. Bye.